In an eternal and melancholy twilight, the world is dying silently. Gravity is weakening, and the atmosphere has become a luminescent mist of impossible colors. The cities look like abandoned glass, monuments under a sky that is literally unraveling. Everyday objects begin to float lightly due to the loss of gravity. The sound of the wind no longer carries birds, only the crackle of distant structures contracting. The silence is something dense and physical, the sensation of the air growing thinner and colder, and the texture of one last photograph. He didn't try to flee, he stayed, sitting on the terrace of a building. Tomorrow has ceased to exist. The irony is that, in the end, borders, money, and ambitions became white noise that the only human connect to in the rain. Time now is like a broken hourglass or a song reaching its final note. His consciousness dissolved into the entropy of the universe, leaving a final phrase to resonate like a whisper of hope or a definitive conclusion. The unlevered sky. The sky simply faded. Now it resembles an oil painting left in the rain, a lethargic blend of violet and copper flowing through tattered clouds. I am sitting on the roof of my building, legs dangling over the concrete abyss, watching the world dissolve in a silence so dense I can hear it vibrating in my teeth. There is no panic in the streets below. Panic requires energy, and the Earth's energy seems to be draining through an invisible void in the cosmos. People grew tired of screaming days ago. Hell, will they just wait? I feel a strange sense of disorientation. Gravity, that invisible force that kept us anchored to the ground for millennia, is giving up beside me. An empty ceramic mud begins to rise into some bronze of parapet, floating down that rising beltway. It's a cruel irony. At the moment when everything should feel heavier, we are becoming lighter. The cities, once hives of ambition and noise, now look like graveyards of glass and steel. Looking at the horizon, I see skyscrapers reflecting the dying light of a sun that no longer burns. It merely glows, a dim flashlight in an immense room. The money in the banks, the email passwords, the deadlines that kept me awake at night. All of it has become white noise. Entropy is the great limit. Carbon memories. Between my fingers I hold it up, but I build up and pray. It's from an ordinary Sunday, ordinary park, with people who are right on who are. At this very moment, sitting on the rooftop, staring at the same colorful vibe. It is curious how the end of the world clears the lens of perception. I don't think about humanity's grand failures or the wars that stained our history. I think of the smell of brewed coffee in the morning, the sound of rain hitting the window, and the warmth of a hand intertwined with mine. The end is not about what we lost globally, but about the tragic beauty of the small things that will never be repeated. The air is getting thin, cold, and carries a peculiar metallic taste. The wind has stopped blowing. There are no birds to carry it, nor trees with leaves to rustle. It is only the occasional crack of building metal contracting, as if the architecture itself were sighing in exhaustion. The violet of the sky begins to coping into a deep, almost black blue. The stars, the few that remain, seem closer as if they are coming to fetch us. I close my eyes and feel my body losing the lights after a long and noisy party. And in the end, silence is the most honest music we have ever heard.